one of the many fathers of existentialism, Carl Jaspers. Jaspers has quite an interesting story. He initially trained to be a lawyer, then turned into doctor, then started studying psychiatry and then psychology and then eventually philosophy. He was born in 1883 in Oldenburg, Germany, and his story is also quite interesting from this standpoint because in all of this, the moment he enters the realm of academia in Germany is paradoxically the same point in time, is coincidentally the same point in time where the Nazi take power, and so somehow his reputation, his work is sort of eclipsed by that of other German philosophers who however join the party. He also cannot join the party. His wife is coming from a Jewish Orthodox family, so he's gonna go away from Germany to Switzerland. He's gonna live in Basel for a while, and there he'll come in contact with some other French philosophers. Existentialism in France, which is different, is more towards the side of desperation and less on the side of finding a solution or a perspective through which interpret existentialism, a perspective that he actually had provided. One of the main concepts, and here we're gonna summarize it, and this is gonna be a short video on Carl Jaspers, but one of the main concepts he elaborates is that of boundary or limit situation. So what he means by boundary or limit situation is a situation in which we deal with either sense of guilt, anxiety, dread, and in general it reflects a lack of unity and stability of the self. And he says that in those moments, in those limited situations, everything is fluid, restless movement of being in question. Everything is relative, finite, split into opposites, never whole, absolute, or essential. And so what to do? Because that is the idea, right? What to do in front of that. His solution is basically that of transcending those boundaries. We are in a living process, and in this living process we are like hermit crabs, enclosed and encased into a worldview. But our worldview is never fixed. It's the constant interaction with people that creates the sort of exchange of different worldviews, where not only we exchange, but ours remains ours, but ours also, as well as theirs, undergoes this process of dissolution and refounding. And so this is the living process, and casting off the worldview that we have come to the limit of to create another one is the way to act in order to transcend the limit situation. I mean, life is never free from suffering, and we can certainly not escape death. So the solution that he found is to have the sort of faith, not in God. He never mentions God, a Christian Catholic. He was coming from a Protestant part of Germany, but he never mentions God as God. The faith is seen more of a tension itself between who we were and unbelief. Unbelief of what we are going to become. And to Jaspers, it is a matter of a choice. We can live inauthentically, let sort of destiny and the flow decide, or we can find and refound again ourselves in our own being. And when we act and we make a decision, we create a new worldview, and we have to change it according to how we feel in that moment. I think that theoretically this is a concept that works very well. The point here is that also we cannot really impose onto the flow of things our own personal perspective, because things might go a different direction. So in general, the idea of having a balance is not bad. But from a theoretical, rational standpoint, the idea of not letting these situations define us, but act in the form of transcending and reconstructing the worldview is probably what makes more sense in light of limited situations. And so, for instance, when we lose somebody, and that person sort of disappears from our life for a reason or another, we have to reconstruct meaning, also the meaning of our life, because there's that piece that is missing, right? And so when we have to do that, our own perspective, our own worldview has to change. Now, Carl Jaspers would say, let not just time pass by and sort of like dragging that pain, but actively reconstruct that worldview. That leaves a little bit us with less sort of, with more of a general idea and not a practical guide. And I think that also you cannot really have a practical guide because everyone is so different from the other. But we're in this space where he would say act. Other philosophers would say that's it. There's nothing you have to do, right? It's just life, and you have to accept it. And so here we find a bit the merging and contradiction between sort of two different almost philosophies. One is that of the West, the Taoists, that believe that in non-action there is an action, and the other one is the Western tradition that believes that action is exactly the opposite of non-action. But I want to hear your thoughts, so I'm going to stop here. Let's see if that made some sense to you guys, and we'll talk next time. But in the meantime, let us know, comment below, and if you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe it, and we're gonna talk next time. Bye!